Reading a dense article from top to bottom can leave you lost in a sea of words. To evaluate a text effectively, you need to strip away the body paragraphs and expose its underlying structure. We can practice this by analyzing our first text, Article 1, which tackles the body positivity movement. Our first step is to locate the author's primary arguments. The author builds their case by first looking backward. They argue that print magazines and television broadcasts have historically saturated the public with highly edited, unrealistic standards of physical beauty. Looking directly at the first paragraph, the text establishes the first main idea. It connects those heavily edited images to the present day and identifies the resulting harm, showing how comparing oneself to these standards leads to serious mental health issues. Extracting these broad ideas first is a deliberate strategy. It forces you to stop reading passively and start actively investigating how the author intends to prove their claims. Once you have the main ideas on one side of your notes, you have to find the key points. If the main ideas are what the author believes, the key points are how they defend those beliefs using the text. For example, the author claims that social media influencers play a vital role in the movement. We map that directly to a specific key point found later in the text. Influencers actively use their platforms to challenge traditional norms. To make those points convincing, the author relies on specific, verifiable evidence. We can sort this supporting evidence into two distinct buckets. Here is an excerpt from the third paragraph. The author cites that the hashtag body positivity appears in over 14 million Instagram posts. This is quantitative data, cleanly fitting into our statistical evidence category. Further down, the text names two specific individuals, Megan Crabbe and Ashley Graham. Providing specific names shifts the author's support from raw numbers to real-life modeling. By highlighting Ashley Graham, the author grounds their argument in reality. They show exactly how a real person bypassed traditional modeling agents to build a community of 12 million followers directly. Sorting the evidence this way allows you to evaluate the strength of the text. You can see exactly which data points are doing the heavy lifting to persuade the reader. Authors rarely announce their target demographic on page 1. Instead, the intended audience is embedded within the specific language and references they choose to use. Look at the specific focus points of this passage. The text repeatedly references women, centers on the technical ecosystem of Instagram, and maps out the psychological impact of body image issues. When we aggregate these details, the target becomes clear. The article is speaking directly to young adults, specifically women who navigate their lives through visual social platforms. Deducing the hidden audience is a mandatory step. You cannot judge if an article is effective until you know who it is trying to reach. The final step of a thorough review requires you to connect the text to your own life. The challenge is making a personal connection while keeping your analysis strictly relevant to the author's argument. Look at this sample response. The writer bridges their personal life to the text using transition phrases like "as someone who" and "however." These phrases act as anchors, tying a personal anecdote directly back to the article's core themes, diverse body types and realistic portrayals. Now it is time to practice this on your own. Your next assignment is to apply this exact same framework to Article 2, which examines the rising rates of workplace stress and sleep deprivation among Malaysians. Keep your process strict. Extract the main ideas into points, categorize the evidence, infer the target audience, and finally, anchor your personal connection to the core themes. This four-step framework will